Hey guys! Today I want to talk about two really surprising books. One was a super awesome One was a super awesome surprise, and one was like the worst book I've ever read, probably. So let's start with the good one, shall we? So the first book I want to talk about is this one, which is a German book. It's called Mein geteiltes Herz, and it's written by a woman called Claire Hake. So if you want to read this book and you're not from Germany, you can see whether they have translated this into English, I'm not sure, but it's probably the only book written by Claire Hake. So this book is set in the time before and during and a little bit after the Second World War, which is one of my favorite themes for books because I'm really interested in history and all that stuff, and I always like to see perspectives that are not from within Germany but, you know, from somewhere else in the world. This book is written by a woman from Switzerland. Basically, it has different settings, so I'm not quite sure whether the translations are right. I didn't look them up, but it's set in Sumatra, which is in Indonesia, in Shanghai, and in Germany and in Switzerland, and so there are many countries, and yeah, it's just really, really interesting. So basically, this book tells the life of Claire Hake, which it's a real story. It really happened, you know. She was born 1900 and something, and when she was I don't know, about 20 years old or something, or even younger, she decides to leave Switzerland to go and live with her sister and the husband of the sister in Sumatra. So she travels there, and you know, it's really interesting because traveling wasn't that easy back in those days, and she comes there to be with the family and help with the children and stuff, and it's just super, super interesting to read because Sumatra at that time was a colony, is that what you call it, of the Netherlands, and many Swiss and German and Dutch people went there to find work, and so one of these people is the husband of Claire's sister. So they live there and they're working there, and the women are pretty much bored because they're not allowed to raise their children. They have staff that does that for them, but they don't really have anything to do there. So Claire finally meets the man of her dreams there, and I'm sorry if I'm talking super long about this book, but this really blew my mind. But she meets the man of her dreams there, which is a German. And she's like, no, I can't fall in love with him because my father will never allow me to marry a German man. So she tries to deny it, and finally they still marry because he doesn't give up, because he's super in love with her too. And they have 2 children, and it's all just really complicated. And then there is a huge change in the whole story when Germany, or Hitler, he attacks the Netherlands, basically. So the Netherlands have no real power, and they are just, you know, run over by the Germans. And so the colonies, the Dutch colonies, they bring out like rules, and they put all those Germans into like prisons and stuff. And also by marrying this German man, she becomes German as well. So she is brought into such a prison with many women, and because she is really Swiss, yeah, that's the word. She has many rights and she can really talk to the Dutch people there, and they listen to her because she's not really German, and so she can help the other women and their children and everything, and finally she can not escape, but you know, they're allowed to go, all those women, and they're allowed to go to Japan and to Shanghai. And so I don't know, she's traveling through so many countries, and all she wants is to find her husband and to know that he's still alive. And it was just so touching, the story, and it's so interesting because it's something that we do never ever hear in class in school. And so I really love this book, and if you can find it anywhere, just read it. It's so much better than anything I have ever read about World War II, I believe, because it is like a real story. It really happened to Claire, and I don't know, it's so much information in it. So you have those little parts written by her granddaughter. So when Claire died, she had this massive manuscript, and her granddaughter sat down and wrote this book, and she put in there so much information about the time, about the World War, about the colonies and everything like that. So it's so much information, and it's really great and really cool, and you learn so much from this book, and it's still a super touching story, and I loved it. So I think that is all about this book. It was such a surprise to me. Definitely go and read it if you can. So I think I'm going to talk a little bit about this book as well. Let me see. Again, I don't know the English title, I have to say. So again, a German book. I'm not usually reading German books because I'm not a fan of German authors. And this book is one of the reasons why I don't read German books. So in German it is called Der Menschenräuber. Räuber. Oh, I can't talk German when I'm talking English. It is by Sabine Tiesler. The cover really stood out to me, really liked it. Also the title, which is... I will put you the English title just in a little annotation or something. So this book also was a big surprise, because I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a try, even though I am a little bit careful with German authors. Totally not worth it. It was so rubbish, this book. You have to believe me. So this book is about a man who lives in Berlin. He has a wife, and the wife is a dancer for ballet, and he's a photographer. Is that what you call it? You know what I'm talking about. He takes photographs and sells them and stuff. And so they're super rich and super awesome and everything, and then she gets pregnant, and that is the worst thing in the world, because she has to give up her whole career and stuff, and she's home alone with the child in the end. The child is a daughter, I don't remember her name. Really not worth it. So she starts to hate this child because the child hates her, and it's all really complicated, but then they figure it out some way, and I don't know, and it's all just boring stuff that doesn't make any sense. So this girl grows up to be super talented with arts. So she can draw amazing pictures, you know, like every child in the world. She's super amazing, and then she gets run over by a car, obviously. So she dies, and the father totally loses his mind, and he can't live with the grief and everything, and it's super traumatic. Totally did not feel anything of his feelings. I did not get into the story. It's a little bit of a massive book, but no. I don't know. He then leaves his woman or his wife, and he goes to live in Italy, where he meets a girl that looks exactly like his daughter, but she's blind. So he then decides to marry her. Yeah, you know, the girl that looks like his daughter. I was like, no, this doesn't sound good. And they never have sex, which really bothers her because she doesn't know why. And then, you know, it all comes together. It is a stupid story. It doesn't make any sense. The feelings are just weird. And I don't know, it's all just so fake. You really feel like, you know, something just thought of that, and it doesn't, you know, it would never happen in real life, and totally not like that. I mean, a little bit of reality has to be in every book. Didn't like anything about this book, I think. Oh, I liked the setting. I liked the little place in Italy, you know, love Italy for traveling and stuff. That was nice, but the rest, rubbish. So definitely never going to touch a book by Sabina Tiesler again. Did you ever read a book by a German author, especially like a thriller or like crime or something like that? Did you have any good books in that genre from German authors? I don't know. Maybe you have. Let me know. Would be very interested in that. And yeah, just hope you enjoyed this really long video about just 2 books, but I really wanted to talk about these. Really wanted to. So have a lovely day, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Bye!